Hello. I want to talk to you guys about the white power groups and why they view civil rights movements as Marxist. White power groups, some of them are not necessarily capitalists, but they are anti-socialist and anti-communist. They view equality, the theory of equality, as implied Marxism. They believe that saying that everybody's equal is implying that there should be no class in society. They absolutely disagree. They believe that there should be a ruling class. There should be classes. That by hereditary motivations, there are different classes of people, different talent pools of people, and that should be ranked upon income. The ones who have the highest income should have the highest talent in society. The ones who have the lowest income have the least amount of talent in society. And that talent is measured by the society itself and what the goals of that society are. When they look at the civil rights movement, when they look at affirmative action, they look at people who are trying to say that everybody's equal, and the reason why people aren't equal is because of oppression, and these people who are trying to first enforce affirmative action are trying to make everything equal when they're not. The reason why black people are not academically achieving is because they are genetically prone not to. And to try to use these government programs to force or try to make black people equal to whites is garbage. They feel that it hurts white people. They view it as Marxist. They view trying to equalize income as a form of Marxism. And in some essence, it's not necessarily a form of Marxism. It has some influences in Marxism because Marxism does not believe in class. It believes in equal income. That's just a fact. So that could explain why the COINTELPRO was against black groups, against the Black Panther Party, against the Civil Rights Movement. Because in essence, those groups were trying to say that black income and white income should be equal. They were looking at the results, not just the opportunity, but if blacks had the equal opportunity, the results of the income between blacks and whites would be equal. They are not equal. That implies that whites are trying to oppress them. Especially, and not necessarily, yes, this was part of the civil rights movement to a degree, but the more extreme elements of the civil rights movement, I would say black nationalism and the Black Panther Party, were forcing that, were aggressive in terms of preaching that. So, people in the FBI who are anti-communist and anti-Marxist would look at these groups, and they feared that they were clinging or were in danger of supporting Marxist ideology, which was supported by many communists. So could these black groups become communists? Very easily, because communism was saying that there was no class. There was, that in capitalism there was a ruling class that would oppress the lower classes. And the Black Panther Party looked at the whites that were, that were an elite as an oppressive class. Why would there be differences between rich and poor? The differences between rich and poor could only exist in a capitalist society where, the ruling class would exploit the lower class. Just to make it very general and very simple. So therefore, yes, many black groups, especially the Black Panther Party, could easily have contempt for capitalism, which they viewed as being created by the white ruling class. And yes, it could be very possible for those black groups to side with a Marxist ideology, an anti-capitalist ideology. So, who we're looking at this, saw those black groups as a threat to American capitalism, to American anti-Marxism. So therefore, he treated those groups no differently from any Marxist group he suspected that would infiltrate America and subvert America to a Marxist ideology, because he believes that capitalism is the right economic system around the world and globally. I just said the same thing. So, yes, the COINTEL conspiracy. Yes, I do believe that did happen. But here's the thing: it was based upon ideology. It wasn't based upon physical differences between blacks and whites. Herbert Hoover did not like the black groups, not because they looked different. It's because they had an ideology that threatened his view of American capitalism or American non-Marxism. And it's not just Herbert Hoover. I mean, if you look at the white power groups, the most extreme elements of the white power groups that focus on race consciousness and, yes, racism or racialism, you will notice that they view those groups, the Black Panther Party, even mainstream civil rights groups, as potentially Marxist groups, because they may not believe in capitalism, but they believe in a system where there is an elite class, where there are people who are smarter, have more ability to invent things, have more ability to, comprehend science. These people should rule society, and they believe those people are predominantly, vastly majority, disproportionately are whites. And Northeast Asians, and Northeast Asians. So, one thing, my point is that to think that these, white groups, they're just saying that, blacks were part of a Marxist movement, oh, well, that's just an excuse because they look different, is garbage. They believe that the ideology of the civil rights movement, the ideology of racial equality, is a threat to American capitalism or to any other form of American non-Marxism, because there are some white nationalists that are not capitalists, but they are certainly not Marxist and communists. So I hope that clears things up. Thanks.